recorded.
Okay, so let's proceed ahead with the group discussion, and I'll give you a topic, and then I'll give 2 minutes to you to think about that topic. And what you will do after 2 minutes, I will give chance to each one of you to speak about the topic. That is called introduction. And after the introduction, you people will discuss among yourself about that topic. And that session will be 10 to 15 minutes. And after that, one of you will conclude. So let me tell you in the group, in the starting, in the introduction, you people are to talk about the topic. You are to tell what you are going to speak about the topic. So what do you think about the topic? आपको टॉपिक कैसा लग रहा है, इंपॉर्टेंट लग रहा है, क्या लग रहा है, और टॉपिक के बारे में जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात आप बता सकते हैं वो आपको इंट्रोडक्शन में बतानी चाहिए. एंड ऑल्सो इन द इंट्रोडक्शन यू शुड टेल एवरीवन दैट हाउ यू वांट दिस डिस्कशन टू गो. क्या डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं आप आगे, वो इंट्रोडक्शन होता है. फिर बॉडी में तुम्हें डिस्कशन करना होता है और कंक्लूजन में जो क्या डिस्कस किया वो बताना होता है. सो देयर इज अ सेट पैटर्न ऑफ ग्रुप डिस्कशन, एंड इफ यू फॉलो दैट सेट पैटर्न देन the GD goes very well. So I'm giving you a topic and I'm going to type it also here. You can see that. So topic is role of education in life of a man. Role of education in life of a man.
Sir, everyone.
I'll give chance to each one of you. Role of education in life of man. Okay, so I think I can start with the Ritik Kaushal. Ritik, please introduce the topic.
Good evening, everyone. I am glad to have the opportunity to start the discussion. The topic of today's discussion is role of education in life of a man. In my opinion, this topic is very generic in nature, and we should discuss various points related to this, related to education, how education affects of a life of men. And yes, so we should move the discussion in these directions. So I think education has an important role in the life of a man. It helps to develop the essential aptitudes which are required in various facets of life of man. Education actually helps to make the man more responsible towards the society. An uneducated man may be responsible towards his home, but an educated man will be more responsible towards the society. Now I would like to invite all of you to participate in the discussion.
Okay, Rohit.
Good evening, everyone. Today we have got this topic, role of education in life of a man, and I think it's a quite important topic in today's era. Today, education is the basic necessity which everybody is talking about. Even government is talking about right to education. It seems like everybody has the basic right, exactly like we are having right to life and right to other things. On par, we are now talking on right to education. So there are many aspects which can affect education in everybody's life, and there will be many positive as well as negative impact. So in this forum, we will be discussing it and then we will be concluding it. In my opinion, going ahead, education should be a basic backbone of everybody's daily living and daily life. And this exactly becomes the base on which everybody's decision making capability depends upon. So basing upon an educated person can make better decisions as well, and uneducated person makes a decision which is not valid or maybe sometimes wrong even. So this will be how we can proceed ahead, and then I will open the forum for other participants to put their opinion, and then we can conclude.
Okay, Akash.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Akash, and I am going to talk about the topic given to us today. What is the role of education in life of man? Personally, I feel that having education helps people to feel, think, and behave in a certain manner which is acceptable to the society and improves not only their own success but also the success of the entire community in which he or she stays. In addition, the education helps in developing one's personality, thoughts, and how we should deal with others in and also prepare for the further life experiences. So I will open this house for further discussion how does education can develop the human personality of a person, and how it can develop their thoughts, and how they can educate it, how to deal with others through education in a further life. So I'll open this house for discussion among yourselves. Thank you.
Yeah, Karthik.
Good evening, friends. My name is Karthikeya Jaiswal. I take the initiative to start the discussion. Friends, the topic given for today's discussion is role of education in life of man. And you know, this topic is going to be very interesting. And this topic is very thought-provoking. And this is very interesting topic. And we are going to know about how education is going to be important for making our nation developing to developed nation. Okay. And what is the role of education in everyone's life? And you know, education helps in creation of a better society, and people you can see, and whatever I have who are educated just like doctors and engineers get utmost in life. So we are going to talk topics in three you can say subtopics, just like social education, different thing, and where you can talk about the behavior, and leadership quality and skills are different type of education in the life of man, and also education, this type of things we are going to discuss on. Now now I am going to open the house for everyone, and now we are going to discuss it.
Okay. Okay, so everybody has introduced. Now please unmute each one of you as we are entering into the second part of the GD, and that is where you have to talk among yourself. So Rohit, Karthike, unmute yourself. And this discussion will be for approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Then I'll come and we will go for the conclusion. One of you will conclude the topic. So Karthike, unmute yourself and please start the discussion now.
Hello, everybody. So I have said that the education helps in developing the human personality and also developing the thoughts of a human being. So education provides us with a lot of knowledge and a lot of important things that are very common to the human society. We can get political knowledge. We can get knowledge about the nature. We can get the knowledge about human behavior. You can get the knowledge of how the courtesy we have read in our children during our children time. We have read about good manners and all. So education is very much important in today's society to develop one's personality and help in dealing with others in a community. So how we should discuss
I
on
am
how.
completely agree with Akash Das. Okay. I am completely agree with Akash Das, whatever he has shared. So I think, education is the most important thing. Because of education, we are able to communicate with you guys, and because of education, we are it's all about the education, and we are going to talk about the person who are not educated, how they can survive their life in a best way. And the education is most important, because of if we have not any education, if we are not most educated, we are not able to raise our voice against government of India, or any state, because this is the democratic India, and we have to be educated to raise our voices in front of anyone.
I'm completely agree with both of your points. That education has a impact in social, psychological, physical, and mental aspects in the life of a man. But we should also talk about how education has evolved in our country since independence. When our country got independence, the literacy rate was around 12%, and now this literacy rate has jumped to around 78% now. And we also should discuss that how we achieved this. The Article 21A, which is right to education.
Ritik, you are deviating away from the topic. It is asking for the role of education, not where we
I
have
am
come
just
along in
talking about
education.
history because people learn from history. If
Yeah,
we
but
read
no, it's
history in a
actually
proper way,
asking for the role of
then we
education in
can.
human life.
Yes, that's
Exactly.
exactly
We
what I
are
am talking. If we refer some history, then it will be good for us. Then that how educated has really evolved and how it impacted the lives of men as a whole.
I definitely support your views. Definitely going ahead, literacy rate has impacted a lot in our society, and people who are educated are taking their generation further more in getting educated, and this is impacting our society as a whole. The
I want to
education.
Yes, I want to mention. I want to complete my statement that domestic abuse. I am talking history because as education has evolved through time, we are really able to cope up with domestic abuse. Because in past time when people were not that educated, then domestic abuse was a regular problem. But now we can see as a man is continuously educated, then that this domestic abuse problem is getting removed from time to time. Uh,
I definitely
Okay,
appreciate
so
that effort, but the main point here is role of education, and the point which you have shared exactly that points how positive and negative impact, positive as well as negatively, an education can impact a man and their decision making. So
I am completely agree with
an
I am
educated person
completely agree with. Okay, okay, continue.
an educated person, you are talking about abuse and many other things, literacy rate. So an educated person on an educated society and will make a definitely better decisions in nation making, and
Okay.
then we are talking on history aspects. So definitely education gradually over years have emerged out, and then we are having a better developed society due to education only. And going
I
further
think
ahead,
I am completely agree with both of my friends Rohit, Ritesh, and Akash. That's whatever they have shared. Okay, so I am what I am thinking and whatever I have noticed, because I everyone is graduated right now, and everyone have faced the difficulties while we are completing my education, our education in class 10th, 12th, and we are facing a lot of difficulties. Suppose that what is supposing it's reality. We are from a very poor background, and we have not able to take education, study in the good colleges and good, you can say that good quality of education we are not able to take, because of you can see the fees and fees hike and each and everything. The rich people are going to be get that type of education. So government should also take this type of take a solid step against this. Education should be you can say that affordable for all of the things. There should be no any discrimination that
I completely,
rich persons on.
I completely agree with Kartike. The thing is that, in fact, we can consider ourselves as privileged because we can get education from our childhood days. But there are some of the people or some of the children who are underprivileged in slum areas, in remote villages sites, who are not being able to afford the quality education that is being provided by by the government, Indian government, or some other private institutions.
I think
So the thing is
I
that we
support.
should always adhere to improve their lifestyle conditions. We as educated people can expand can help our further generation who are
yeah,
living in slum
I
areas.
am agree with
I
Akash Das.
I
I think
exactly.
Ritik Kausal is not speaking. Let Ritik Kausal should explain the thoughts. I think I would like to
I think
call Ritik
government.
Kausal. Okay.
I think government should spend more budget on education. For example, our government is spending around 0.6% of GDP on education sector and education and research combined. And in other developed countries where quality of living life is very good, like in Norway, Finland, and Denmark, etc., the GDP they spend is around 8% to 10%. So we can compare that. This is very less in our country. So the need is that government should interfere in education and research, and they should spend more money on this education sector, so that
Yeah,
the
I am
education could be
completely agree
affordable
with
to
Ritik.
so that education could be affordable
Okay.
to most of the people in our country.
I
Affordable education.
completely agree with Ritik Kausal. Whatever he has said, that government should also take a step. I'm completely agree with you. I would like to appreciate you, but
But the purpose
what
here is we are
our
discussing
youth
here
is
the role of education in everybody's life. So we are not talking on government aspect. The role
So
of
one
education
point
no.
in everybody's life.
that
What
is
we are talking, Rohit Ritesh, you are not understanding what you are not getting what I want to say. I just want to make you understand, guys, by taking an example. What our youth are facing and why we can. Education is so important in life of man. You can say that if education is not our India is not going to be developed anymore. Okay,
Government
so
has
what
already
we would
implemented right to education, and it is now
no
everybody's right.
no
They are getting
no
education.
No, but
See,
it is
no.
only around 6 to 14
Every
years of age. But this policy
exactly,
is for 6
that's what
years
we
to
are
14 years of
talking.
age.
That's what we are talking
why
about. Role of
Yes.
why
education, how
our
it is impacting everybody's
But
life.
this is basic
Because
education. We are talking about
one generation
higher
gets
education
educated, he puts
that has
their
real impact on the lives of people.
if we are
And you
getting
are talking
educated,
about
then,
basic
then definitely we
education.
are taking our
yeah
next generation to get further educated, and then they are getting next. Many
I
Indians
am
are
partially disagree with Rohit
going
Ritesh.
ahead in foreign
Whatever
countries and getting further more educated. They're getting education in multinational colleges. So this is how education impacts our society. First, one generation gets started, then it takes away in next generation, and then it carries upon. So India has started from a point where we were left with nothing. Government has implemented its strategies, and due to that, many generations have come over.
if we
Exactly,
take
rural.
our
I
see
Besides
if we take our
government, we should also talk
if we
about
take our
technology.
history, if
We
we
should
take
also
our
talk
Indian
about technology
history.
like online
See,
penetration of education sector in India.
Ritik, if we talk about the history, like historic, if we go into past history, we were educational superpower. India was once educational superpower. We know about Nalanda University. People and students from all over the world used to come to Nalanda University to study. Now, even we know about the Kalidas and all Vidyasagar. They were all education. The educational minds. They were all the minds like. They were like
Intellectuals.
okay, guys,
intellectuals. Their minds. So
I am completely agree with my friend. What I want to say that government is doing a very good step. I'm not saying that wrong step taken by government, but what education should be. Education should be affordable, because if you can say that the people who belongs from poor family, they are not affordable to get preparation for JEE mains examination, advanced examination, or for NEET. So how we can expect that our youth are growing and our education system is growing and our literacy rate is going to be increased? And if you are talking about UP, because I belong from UP and I know the current situations what we are facing in UP, and we are talking about Kerala. If you are talking about the literacy rate of Kerala, there 95% more than 95% literacy rate in India, and the most literacy rate in
Kartike,
state.
you are
Okay,
going against means you are going out of the topic. It is
exactly
the role of
affordability is
education. It
not
is
a
not
question.
Guys,
asking
what I
about what
think the role
government
of
has done.
education has in
Role
the
of
life of a man is that the man of today's generation is now less superstitious. Earlier, the people who are not that educated were used to be superstitious, but now we can see that people are actually scientific. People actually develop a scientific temperament, and they do not readily believe anything they are told to. So I think that
actually-
education.
Education
I
is the
actually
most important,
completely agree with Ritik.
our-
How the society
Okay,
has
guys,
changed,
let-
evolved over the years. Earlier, what happened was that even if a girl child was born, it was a very bad scenario for the homes, and that abortion was done. But now, after educated people, now the girl child abortion.
I want to add one important point. I want to add one important point.
I want to add one point. How you can say this
when a girl
sentence
when
if
a
you
girl
are
child
talking
used to
about
born, then it used to be considered the fault of a mother. We can all relate that earlier when a girl used to born, then it was supposed to be the fault of mother and not
Exactly.
father.
Ritik,
But it's actually the
I
fault
am
of father.
Now
completely
since the men,
That's
but
what
since
education has
I
made.
am
because of
completely
education,
disagree with
this
Akash,
superstition
whatever you have
Education,
said.
is removed
education has
from
completely
society.
eradicated social evils, right?
Exactly.
You can see the
Many
education
educated
role.
persons
That
are
is
now
the most
making
important role.
better decisions. They are taking informed decisions. They are not
They're taking
taking
informed
some
decisions.
superstitious
Okay,
ideas. and
Rohit, I am completely agree with you. But I want to add one thing. Akash das said that literacy rate is increasing. Okay, so you are talking about sex ratio is also increasing. It's not. If you are talking about, I think you should see the current situation. If you are talking about the most literacy rate in UP, Gautam Budh Nagar is most literacy rate, most have literacy rate. But if you are talking about a sex ratio, it has lowest sex ratio in state. Why it is? If people are getting educated, why? How it is possible? How discrimination is possible? I
Guys, I think
okay.
I want to interrupt you. Guys, I think I should we should discuss that. We should discuss some examples where people are actually educated. Like in developed countries where the literacy rate is around 95 to 98%. How they affected the society, how they affected their country, how they are contributing to their country, so that we can actually learn that how education is so relevant. How education will can impact the life of a man. So
Developed
we
countries,
readily have
That's
so
what
many
we are
examples.
discussing, right?
developed
That's
countries are
what we are
making
Okay,
much
discussing.
guys,
better
you know,
decisions. They are
if
taking
you are talking,
way
if you
ahead.
are talking about
They are talking on sustainability. They are talking on many energy efficiency kind of thing. So developed countries are making decisions because they have a upper edge over these developing countries where people are much more educated. They are capable of taking much more better decisions. So that's why
yeah,
education
absolutely,
has
Rohit Ritesh. I am
impacted each and
That we
everyone.
should
completely,
A
talk
person,
about so
I
that
am
we can actually.
completely agree with you. Firstly, I have to take example why role of education is important in life of man. You can think that technology is going to be strong day by day. It's going to be expanded day by day. And what you can say that a lot of cases you can see that people are going to be making fool by the lot of technologies. People are saying a lot of men are saying that you are going to be in 1 lakh rupees. Firstly, give your Aadhaar number, PAN card number, passbook number. So firstly, our youth generation, our India has to be become acknowledge about that. Youth has to develop the sense of awareness that we have to educate it, because if we don't you can say that we don't blind belief on anything. We have to educate and we have to think, and when we are educated, we are going to know all about the things whatever going to happen in our current situation. And what
Kartike, I want to add an important point that we are discussing the role of education in the life of a man. Earlier, when people were not that educated, then there used to be the problem of equality between men and women. Now as we can see from in developed countries, that there is a higher participation of women in
Uh,
workforce.
I am
Women are highly participating in workforce.
I would
I am
like,
partially disagreeing with Ritik. Why? Because in fact, in previous times also in BC era, whenever we were educational superpower also, there was discrimination between men and women. Like women were not allowed to
No,
go in the
you read it
battlefield.
wrong. You read it wrong. I want to
you
that you
know
read it.
There was
You
sati.
don't
I
know
would
actual
like to
history.
add one
You
point
are
here.
quoting wrong
At
We
history.
were
one
not
point there was
discriminated
sati. So
only
there
on
was
the
a social
basis of
evil.
men and women, but today, not today, from sometimes back, if you see, there was discrimination used on the basis of caste. Today, if you see, educated people on the basis
let
of
me correct
education,
you guys. Okay,
peoples have evolved so much that the discrimination on basis of caste and creed today has narrowed down. People are not being discriminated. This is only because we are getting educated and we are taking much more better decisions.
Guys,
We are
earlier
not,
men used to consider
let me
superior
correct
themselves
let me
as
correct you
on
guys
women
that
counterpart.
you are already
But now,
mentioned
as
that
men are getting
equality
educated,
rate is.
they are considered women as equal partners. We can see
Okay,
this
I think
change in
we
our
conclude
society.
now. So I'll give chance to each one of you to conclude. So I again start from Ritik. Each one will conclude. So Ritik, please conclude first.
Um, I would like to have the opportunity to conclude this discussion. Um, we discussed that education should be the basic right, and as in this is the should be the basic right. Education affects human personality and how to behave with others. Education also has sociological, psychological, physical, and mental aspect in the life of a man. And we discussed about how education is. We discussed about how education. That's all.
Okay, now Rohit, please conclude. Yeah.
I'd like to take this opportunity to conclude this. And in this discussion, we have discussed many positive things about role of education in every man's life. We have discussed how education has impacted a man in growing evolved from a thing where he was not educated, and then now getting educated, he's taking much better decisions, from India where people were very less educated, and now to India where people are getting educated, and India is being taken to a front edge. We have discussed that many developed countries are taking better decisions because of the education rate which is prevailing over there, and India should also work upon that part, and should get more emphasis, should put more emphasis on education. Since this topic is not ending, we can't conclude with so much short discussion. It is an ever-ending process. It is an ever-ending edge where we need to conclude. So I'd like to conclude with the fact that role of education is a very substantial, have a very substantial impact on a man's life, and as a government, India should work upon it to provide more educated, more emphasis on education in Indian society.
Okay.
Thank you.
Karthikeya?
I'm glad to conclude this discussion. Okay, so guys, we didn't come to any discussion, but although this was very good discussion, everyone has different perspective to think about the what's the importance of what the role of education in each and every man. So whatever Rohit has said, Ritik and Akash Das had said, that education is so much important, and education should be on the priority, because of it, without education we are not able to survive in this society. Education is so important, and whatever Rohit has already said that, and Ritik has already said that, and Akash has been already said that education is the most important to understand the to mutual understanding, and although we are able to communicate because of the education. Without education we are nothing, and we have to also, there are a lot of limitations we are talking about throughout this discussion, and what the government should take the discussion, should take the initiative to improve the literacy rate, and all of these things we have discussed. So I think this was a very good discussion, by the way.
Okay, Akash?
Yes, sir. Hello. So I would like to take the opportunity to conclude the topic on role of education in life of man. So we had a very fruitful discussion where many gave important points, like Karthika told about we have to the Indian government has to raise the percentage of money investing in education. Ritesh told about the more emphasis on role of education. So Ritik told about the GDP part of the education that we have gone, but we have to also understand that education is like the bread and butter in today's world. Without education, we will be set back in time. And in other words, we will be not be able to understand whatever the recent developments the country is making. We will not be able to make and develop the country. Recently, Prime Minister Modi launched a Make in India program. Without education, do you think that we will be able to innovate ourselves? We will be able to manufacture something in our Make in India program? No. So education is very much important in developing the nation, for not only for India and for the world. So going forward, this discussion would be more open-ended among us. That's all.
Okay. Okay, so let me give you now feedback for your this discussion. So this was a topic, role of education in life of man. First, I'll give you the feedback of each one of you. So Ritik started saying it is a generic topic, and how it will affect, and how it will help in development of the aptitude of individual, and better for society if somebody is educated, and people become, acquire certain good things, and say they remove some of the bad things in their personality, like superstition, so they tend to become good person or something. So that is how Ritik discussed. So introduction part was better, but conclusion was very bad. So Ritik, you need to improve upon it. I mean, your performance earlier was better. You have gone down because of not participating, I think, or not practicing. So you come to that level, and that will come with the practice. So introduction and regularly speaking, and then conclusion. Conclusion is easiest. No, you should keep on noting down the points of others, and conclusion is the easiest and the surest way to pass the GD. If at the end you speak very well, I mean, you keep on writing what others are saying, and then you conclude on behalf of entire group, it is very easy, because in the conclusion you are not to give your points, you have to give points of others also. So conclusion is the best and easiest way to pass the group discussion. But if you are to conclude, then you have to be very very much aware that this is how it is going to be. Then Rohit said, okay, it is an important topic, and right to education he mentioned, and that means it's a fundamental right. So it shows the importance of this. If it is a fundamental right and government is thinking about it, so it's very important. Positive and negative things are there. So basic backbone, it is there, and daily life may also, if educated person is there, then that is there. So that is how Rohit participated. Akash said, okay, we behave in particular manner if you are educated. So educated and not educated, they have different behavior or something. It helps in developing the personality, thoughts, and it can develop the thoughts and personality and knowledge and everything. That is what Akash said. So he linked it with the personality of individual and behavior. Karthike said, okay, it's a thought-provoking, interesting topic. How our country become developed, so that depends upon how educated people are. Social leadership qualities. He tried to divide this into a couple of classifications in the introduction. So education should be affordable. That is how Karthike discussed about this. Role of education in life of man. That is what I say. Like that was the performance of each one of you. But you got more than required time for discussion, because the house has to be 6 or 7 students, because it is 4 people. So I cannot give you very impartial feedback of your performance, because if only one person is in the GD, feedback cannot be given. Similarly, it's a 2, 3, 4 में वो GD का feedback नहीं दिया जा सकता. But I'll tell you one thing, like you need to think about the topic first and then talk about the topic. Role of education in life of man. आप सोचो एक life, in the life of a man, what can be the role of education? And always I had sent you a couple of quotations. Quotations are very helpful in such kind of situations. So there was, I was remembering, there was one quotation, if I'm rightly remembering it. Education is something which is left with the person when everything else learned in the school or college is lost, when he forgets everything which he has learned in the college. So education is something which is left with him. That means education is not about what you read in the books and you pass the exams and you get the certificate. That is not the education. Education prepares you for the life, actually. And role of education in life of man is very crucial. A man is born as a biological entity. Education makes him social entity. So biological to social entity, that conversion is through education. And education is not only obtained in the premises or in the boundary walls of educational institute. Education is something which he learns. Life itself is a very big teacher.
Sir,
So
that's
yeah.
that is I told education prepares for life and then social community.
Yes. So those things are very, very important, actually. So this is how it is to be done. And you can divide this entire, I mean, role of education in the life of man. You can divide that what is the role education is going to play in the life of man. Number one, how it is making the person as a social individual from the biological individual. Second, how it is going to make him as a responsible citizen who is knowing about the constitution, legal system, constitution, responsibilities, duties as a citizen. How education is making him a skilled individual, where further he contribute to the national growth, national economic growth, as well as meeting his expenditures and running his family and running his home. And how it is going to eventually make him a good human being. So you will actually divide this entire thing into these categories. So अब जब आपने classification कर दिया, the moment you have done classification, then speak about the classification. How education can make a person responsible citizen. Educated fellow should know what are his responsibilities, roles and responsibilities. There are fundamental duties mentioned in the Constitution of India. One of the fundamental duties says you should respect women. Another fundamental duty says that you are not to, you are to abjure the violence. You are not to destroy the public property. One of the fundamental duties says that you are to aspire for perfection in every sphere of your life. So if you read this, you will try to, follow that and you become a good citizen. Second, value system, value based. When you get educated, you learn about many great people, and that makes your value system. Now, when you learn about great founding fathers of the country, you learn about Gandhi ji and everything. If you learn about this, then you develop that value system. Today, when you start criticizing Gandhi ji, maybe you have not studied him properly. Maybe you have not read about Gandhi ji. Maybe you have not read that using a very simple tools of truth and non-violence, he could shake the mighty empire of British Empire, British era. So if you are reading those things, you develop your value system. Third is skill. Education makes you capable to earn. You acquire the skills, and those skills actually further help you to run the economy. So we are the largest, democracy, one of the most populated nations. India will become most populated nation, number wise. But what about quality of the people in terms of their employability index and all? Average citizen in developed country is earning, but not in India. Earning is very less. Why? Because skill is very less. So if you are not having any skill, you will not be in a position to earn that much. So that is skilled. And then good human being. Education at the end should teach you to be a good human being. It should teach you to be responsible citizen. It should teach you to be, a little tolerant and accommodating, and ignore certain things which you should do and try to become a good human being. So education should actually teach you all these things. That is how it is to be done. So that is all. I mean, about this particular point. And this is first divide this topic in the introduction and then speak something about each of the topics. That is how it has to be. Now, what you have to do is, like, whenever we discuss some group discussion topic, they are all important topics. कॉपी के ऊपर आपने पॉइंट्स को लिखना होता है और अपना असेसमेंट भी करना होता है. जैसे अभी ये जो जीडी हमने किया, ये आपका इसको एनालिसिस करना, ये आ जाएगा. जो नया चैनल है यूट्यूब का, उसके ऊपर आता है ये. तो उसमें आप अपना असेसमेंट करो कि आप कैसा बोल रहे हो, कहाँ गलती कर रहे हो. सेल्फ असेसमेंट इज द बेस्ट असेसमेंट. No doubt I'm going to do assessment for you, but self-assessment is the best. So you need to do that particular assessment, that why you are not speaking, what are you speaking now, this is what I'm doing wrong, this is how I should do. So that particular part is the best part, right? So all from my side. Anything you want to ask or tell?
When we can see this video, when it is going to upload
Tomorrow
on the YouTube?
Tomorrow. Right?
Sir, everyone wants to introduce the topic. So how we can take the opportunity, sir? How we can take the opportunity?
Jump fast. In 100-meter race, everybody wants to stand first. No, you need to jump fast. You need to run fast. That's it. यही तो इसी की तो प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं हम लोग. जब स्टार्ट करना है, जल्दी से स्टार्ट करना है.
So when the topic will be concluded, will the GD taker will tell that you have now to conclude? All
formats are there. Sometimes he'll say, okay, now you speak. If somebody has not spoken, he'll say, अब आप भी बोलो. So he will give you all the chance. So the way we are practicing it includes all the formats. बोलने की practice होनी चाहिए. That is what you have to do.
While starting, can we make our pitch high to get an apology?
आपने सुना होगा ना कई बार, when you call some hotel, 5-star hotel, वहां से जो front door executives होते हैं, she starts speaking very fluently. इतनी fast अंग्रेजी बोलेंगी कि आपको लगेगा यार फोन रख दें, मैं तो बात ही नहीं कर पाऊंगा. Because they have the practice for that. They have practiced those lines many times. तो उनको practice है. जैसे फोन उठाएंगे वो 2-4 लाइनें जो है ना वो फर्राटे से बोलेंगी. फिर अगर आप कुछ घुमा के क्वेश्चन पूछ लोगे तो उनका पेस कम हो जाता है फिर. तो वैसे ही आपको क्या 3-4 लाइनें फर्राटे से बोलनी है बस, और जोर से. गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स, माय नेम इज रोहित एंड आई टेक द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू इनिशिएट द डिस्कशन. रट लो ना उनको लाइनों को, 3-4 लाइन रटो तो अच्छे तरीके से. दैट इज हाउ इट विल गो. फिर अगला आदमी चुप हो जाएगा कि यार ये तो बड़ा ज्ञानी आदमी आ गया, तो इज so he is not letting us speak. This practice is only matters. बट आपको काफी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलता है जीडी में, बॉडी में भी बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलता है बोलने का। प्रैक्टिस करोगे, बोलोगे, काम की बात बोलोगे तो निकल जाता है जीडी। स्टिक अराउंड द टॉपिक, समथिंग।
Sir, I have not yet done any group task.
करेंगे ग्रुप टास्क, विल गेट द ग्रुप टास्क आल्सो, गेट द पीपल हु आर डूइंग ग्रुप टास्क एंड विल डू दैट, राइट?
Okay.
ओके, चलो देन। हाँ